What you just saw was not planned. Today, 2 weeks into my new eating practice, I'm about to tell you why my body shocked me. But before I reveal numbers from week 2, I need to tell you about the medical labs that changed everything. What happened with those labs 4 months ago is the real reason I'm walking here today, walker free, with results that frankly don't make sense on paper. Picture this. It's April 2025 and the phone in your hand messages you that your lab results are ready. It was hard enough to actually go through with the annual physical, and now you're dreading opening those labs because you've regained every pound you lost a few months before. You're eating 10 times a day. Not kidding, 10. Forget meals. You're a snacking, grazing machine. Constant cravings nag you every waking hour. Plus, it's getting harder and harder to walk. In fact, it's a real effort to get Gigi out for her short pee walk every morning. Standing in lines? Forget about it. The osteoarthritis is getting worse. At 68, you're thinking, this is it. This is when it all starts to unravel. Last year, I'd lost 37 pounds using extended fasting. I'd dropped my A1Cs from 57, that's pre-diabetic, to 5.5. First time in years I wasn't staring down diabetes. In October of last year, I felt I was on solid ground. Then life exploded. A family health crisis that lasted months, during which every good habit I'd built crumbled under the weight of worry and actual physical exhaustion. Who had time to cook after 8 hours at a hospital, day after day, week after week? The weight crept back slowly at first as I tried to minimize the damage. I tried to hang in there. By spring of 2025, I was eating again like someone who had never heard of insulin resistance. Then, in April 2025, the lab results are calling my name. I'm expecting the worst A1C of my life, maybe 6.0 or higher, fully diabetic. The A1C lab finally comes up. 5.3? I mean, that's not just good, that's like a miracle when I was doing everything wrong. That 5.3 result broke something open in me. Not willpower, that was already shattered. It broke open my mind to how tenacious our bodies actually are, even when we think we've destroyed everything. Our bodies persist in healing behind the scenes. I was witnessing grace offered to me that I hadn't earned. In the aftermath of recognizing that grace, I started rejecting thoughts to try harder. Instead, I looked for different ways to think, ways that made me feel lighter instead of burdened, like a butterfly, daring me to think in ways I'd never considered before. Rising, powerful questions began provoking my stubborn beliefs. What if those repeated failures weren't failures at all, but my body saying, there's still time? What if my body was already preparing for a better outcome that my will and actions weren't even considering, like healing. So in mid-August, I started again. Eventually, it led to today and completing 2 weeks of this new effort. And the learning just doesn't stop. Here's something else my body is teaching me. Those hunger hormones that had been running my life, the ones that made me eat 10 times a day, well, they were calming down in week 2. An analogy a coach shared with me during my run of fasting last year has caused me to think of those hunger hormones as dragons. And apparently, those dragons have memories. Last year, when I learned to control my appetite efficiently and effectively, it took a full 6 weeks before the constant hunger and thinking about food disappeared. Or put another way, 6 weeks for me to retrain my hunger dragons. 6 weeks of fighting cravings, fighting my own brain while eating better, moving better. But that was then. It happened this time at the end of week 2. Thursday's vlog will introduce you to these dragons and explain how I accidentally created a dragon rehabilitation center in my body, and how you can too. So stay tuned for Thursday's drop. So what happened this past week? First, that walker return you saw at the top of this vlog is history. When I ordered that 6 weeks ago, inflammation made every step I took painful. Things were happening to my joints and legs that I'd never felt before. My mobility was limiting me in ways I'd never experienced. And I genuinely thought my walking days were over. As these things seemed to work, the walker arrived just as I restarted this eating practice. So I didn't open it. I just placed it in my room. So I had to look at it every day, hoping but not expecting. Then, after changing my eating habits for just a little every day consistently for about a week and a half, I knew I didn't need it anymore. So I walked that walker right back to the returns office, pain-free and stronger. Second, food freedom is knocking at the door. Wednesday night, I didn't finish my dinner. That night, I just naturally felt done much sooner than normal. I tossed half the food on my plate without a second thought. And when you've spent months eating compulsively, that moment felt like magic. Finally, weight reveal time. I started week 2 at 234.2 pounds and ended at 228.9 pounds. That's a 5.3 difference in 1 week. Total progress for these 2 weeks is 7.3 pounds. To put that in perspective, during my successful weight loss last year, in the entire first month, I lost 8 pounds. This time it only took 2 weeks to nearly match that. And look, if a 68-year-old hard-headed woman can go from needing a walker to pain-free mobility in a week and a half of adjusting her eating and movement habits, imagine what your body might be capable of when you finally start working with her instead of against her. Sometimes the most profound changes happen when we stop trying to force them. For the first time in years, I'm seeing the turning leaves not as all the things in my life that I've lost, but as all the things in my life that have served their purpose and can be let go, so that new leaves of my choosing, can grow in their place in their time. All right, fellow butterflies, thanks for sticking with me on this one. On Thursday, I'll introduce you to those hunger dragons and share with you how you might create your own rehabilitation center in your own body. Bye.